We have broken the Christmas omni, and I have no intention of going back to that terrible tradition. So there won't be a Christmas omnibus. As somebody asked me in the hallway a little while ago, will there be many buses? We don't want any buses. We're not going to do any buses, okay?
And I've seen this play call like 4 times in the 7 years I've been in Congress. They've punted the ball until December 20th. And what they'll do is they'll come in a closed room with us and they'll say, okay, now we've got the really big omnibus. And if you vote for this, you can go home for Christmas. But if you don't vote for it and it fails, we're going to make you stay here over Christmas and New Year's. And it's almost like a dystopian future. I've been in the closed room where they start chanting, vote, 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 vote. Yeah. And people run up there and vote for something they've not read.
CR. Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money. But they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you. It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading Doge is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let them know how you feel about it.
Think about what Elon and Vivek have said? Yes. I agree with them 100%. I was a no on the CR before I even got an airplane and came to Washington. I haven't voted on one yet.
Do you think Republicans will be able to get anywhere next year on their effort to cut spending?
Yeah, look, next year's a different scenario. We're not dealing with Chuck Schumer in the Senate. We're going to have Donald Trump in the White House. We will have a narrow majority in the House, but we have to be able to do it next year. So, you know, we're stuck in the same scenario here, but still the CR is completely inexcusable. It's
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. And what we have here is the Rhino Republicans really just trying to go out and ruin everything for Donald Trump and the American people. And they want to get this over and done with before the holidays. And the government may go into shutdown because, you know, they just don't want to vote no on a 1,500 plus page spending bill that makes no sense, has some very woke ideology in it, would actually hurt farmers, and along the likes of just spending billions of dollars. And the worst part is they haven't even read it all. So I really don't know what is going on here with the Rhino Republicans, but they're really hell-bent, and I mean hell-bent on just getting everything that they want here. Everything that they want. And it's quite insane. Here we have the Republicans trying to explain on what's going on here. Well, why? The one Democrat, Dublin, is shocked and doesn't even know that there was a pay raise in the bill, and even advocates for the said pay raise. Here you go.
Pay raise? Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years and no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourselves a pay raise?
How would I not know about a pay raise?
But I mean, people look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
And we're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
Well, I mean, your taxpayer money. I mean, you guys deserve a raise. And Durbin essentially said that, yes, they should give themselves a raise. And what also is noticeable, though, to Jim, he wasn't aware that this was in the provision. Yeah. And he's the #2 Senate Democrat. Just shows you how this was negotiated among a handful of members, and they're going to have to vote on this. And members really won't have time to read it either, Jim.
Unreal. But Manu, I have to say, you are worth every penny. Manu Raju up on Capitol Hill for us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. Yeah, I really don't know what's going on here because I call me a fool. But it seems that a lot of these so-called politicians, these smart, intelligent people, which I don't think they're intelligent, I think they're idiots, and they're trying to hoodwink the American people, and they're paid by the American people because they don't have to work. They're not actually working, right, and being paid, right? Because obviously if they had to work an actual day's job and, get money like the rest of their so-called peasants, at least in their view, they would actually work a bit better. But yeah, they don't know anything that's in the bill, right? They have no idea. They didn't go through it, and they're just trying to pass a bill that they have no idea what's in it. And for all they know, the bill could have kill all blacks in the bill, and then it's like they just passed the bill because they didn't read it. It's like, are you guys dumb? Like, are you guys actual idiots? Because this is what kind of what's showing here. And here we have the great Rhino Mike Johnson. Everybody was lording and laughing, happy with Mike Johnson being the speaker. Yet he's saying like, oh, well, we should just pass it. Just pass it. Because, that's the great thing to do. Because, even if it's going to cost us billions of dollars and hurt the farmers, just pass it.
To fund those. We have to fund FEMA. We have to fund our farmers.
Right. And Mr. Speaker, it's not just so you've got a bunch of Republicans who are angry at you. They don't like this. And just in a couple of weeks, you're going to stand once again to run for Speaker of the House. And you don't need a bunch of Democrats mad at you. But and this is breaking news you do not know. You know who also does not like this? Elon Musk, the world's richest man, just tweeted, this bill should not pass. The only way you're going to be able to pass it now, Mr. Speaker, is with Democrats. If you could, what's your message to Elon Musk?
Well, I was communicating with Elon last night. Elon and Vivek and I are on a text chain together. And I was explaining to them the background of this. And Vivek and I talked last night about almost midnight. And he said, look, I get it. He said, we understand you're in an impossible position. Everybody knows that. Remember, guys, we still have just a razor-thin margin of Republicans. So any bill has to have Democrat votes. They understand the situation. They said, it's not directed to you, Mr. Speaker, but we don't like the spending. I said, guess what, fellas? I don't either. We got to get this done because here's the key. By doing this, we are clearing the decks and we are setting up for Trump to come in roaring back with the America First agenda. That's what we're going to run with gusto beginning January 3rd when we start the new Congress, when Republicans, again, are in control. And all of our fiscal conservative friends, I'm one of them, will be able to finally do the things that we've been wanting to do for the last couple of years. Right now, Democrats still control the pens, and that's the problem. So we got to get this thing done so we don't have the shutdown, so we get the short-term funding measure, and we get to March where we can put our fingerprints on the spending. That's when the big changes start, and we can't wait to get there.
Yeah, so that's what's going on here, right? This is what we have with Mike Johnson saying, oh, let's just not do our job and start working now and get rid of this. Let's just do it next year, because that's when everything is on the table. Oh, that's just like, a person's like, oh, my car is burning, but since my job doesn't start till tomorrow, I'll just do it tomorrow because that's fine. Meanwhile, everything else burns in the process. This is what Mike Johnson is doing here, and it's really quite stupid. And we have this from Amuse, pretty much saying here, and this is what Mike Johnson is pretty much trying to do with this, is that on the heels of the report that the DOJ obtained the emails of Schiff and Solwell, who they leaked classified documents to the media, Congress has inserted language in the continuing resolution allowing it to quash any subpoena Kash Patel or Pam Bondi might issue for House data. This would make any investigation into the January 6th committee all but impossible. It would cripple any investigation into Schiff and Solwell. So that's also another thing that's into the bill. So, Mike Johnson, you're pretty much saying here that you want to hamper Trump's actual chances of doing his job, an investigation into the January 6th committee, and among all the other things, and pass Adam Schiff, Solwell, and maybe even Liz Cheney over this because you just want to pass the bill, right? You just want to pass the bill. That's what you want to do. And that's insanity to me, Mike Johnson. That is insanity to me. That is just completely stupid in every regard. And then we have this from Vivek Ramaswamy, who has gone out and read the actual 1,500-place bill because he did the job that Mike Johnson and the rest of the Rhino Republicans and the establishment refuses to do. He goes on to say here, I wanted to read the full 1,500-page bill and speak with key leaders before forming an opinion. Having done that, here's my view. It's full of excessive spending, special interest giveaways, and pork barrel politics. If Congress wants to get serious about government efficiency, they should vote no. Keeping the government open until March 14th will cost $380 billion by itself. But the true cost of this omnibus CR is far greater due to new spending. Renewing the farm bill for an extra year is $130 billion, disaster relief $100 billion, and stimulus for farmers $10 billion. The Francis Scott Key Bridge replacement $8 billion. The proposal adds at least 65 cents of new spending for every dollar of continued discretionary spending. The legislation will end up hurting many of the people it reports to help. Debt-fueled spending sprees may feel good today, but it's like showering cocaine on an addict. It's not compassion, it's cruelty. Farmers will see more land sold to foreign buyers when taxes inevitably rise to meet our obligations. Our children will be saddled with crippling debt. Interest payments will be the largest item in our national budget. Congress has known about this deadline since they created it in late September. There's no reason why this couldn't have gone through the standard process, instead of being rushed to a vote right before congressmen want to go home for the holidays. The urgency is 100% manufactured and designed to avoid serious public debate. The bill could have easily been under 20 pages. Instead, there are dozens of unrelated policy items crammed into the 1,547 pages of this bill. There is no legitimate reason for them to be voted on as a package deal by a lame duck Congress. 72 pages worth of pandemic preparedness and response. Policy, renewal of the much criticized Global Engagement Center, a key player in the federal censorship state, 17 different pieces of commerce legislation paving the way for a new football stadium in D.C. Like that needs to be needed. A pay raise for congressmen and senators, and making them eligible for federal employee health benefits. It's indefensible to ram these measures through at least last second without debate. We're grateful for Doge's wonderful reception on Capitol Hill. Nearly everyone agrees we need a smaller and more streamlined federal government, but actions speak louder than the words. This is an early test. The bill should fail. And that's the bill in question. This is the bill that they're talking about here. This is how big the bill is. That's insanity here, guys. So, what's going on here? Mike Johnson, you're pretty much saying here, buddy, old pal, let this bill go through, harm farmers, harm other people, harm residents, harm the American people, and allow a censorship thing to go through along with, everything else that goes on that's in this bill. You're a sham. You should be removed immediately from this. And I think even Trump has gone out and said, we're going to primary anybody who sponsors and wants this bill done and passes it. So, isn't that too good? Now, what we have here is something a bit more crazy here, to where they're crying, Democrats and the establishment are crying about the bill because, it's all great and dandy, right? Like, this is what's going on here.
Now, in the past 30 or 40 minutes here, that they might try to pull this interim spending bill off the floor and maybe just go with a clean bill. Unclear what that means for disaster assistance. Here's what happened. A post on X by Elon Musk sent shockwaves through the Capitol. House Republicans were trying to see if they have enough votes to pass the spending bill in the next hour or two. Musk posted that anyone who votes yes should lose their office in 2 years, and lawmakers are scrambling.
The tweets from Musk, has that complicated this?
Well, I think that there's always a lot of interest in what's happening up here, and
this is more than interest. They're telling people if they vote yes, they should be voted out.
The social media world is a part of our politics, and I think members have to expect that. There will be a lot of hard votes in the next couple of years.
A member of the House Republican leadership told Fox that Musk is not helping. The lawmaker added that Musk has bigger fish to fry than picking a fight with House Republicans. One source said the bill is now bleeding support from the GOP. When asked how many Democrats the GOP needs to pass the bill, a senior aide replied, quote, a lot. Lawmakers who had hurricanes devastate their districts are torn.
The fact is that, look, this is a sandwich. I don't know how else to say that. We're being forced into this position. They could have done a standalone. They did this because they knew that it would put members in this position to support it. We're damned if we do. We're damned if we don't.
Now, the bill has about $100 billion in disaster relief, nearly $30 billion to restock FEMA's coffers, and there are lots of health care provisions. Jamming everything together in one bill means some Republicans will not support Mike Johnson for Speaker in January.
Have any other of your colleagues said that they're not voting for Johnson? Any expressed?
I've talked to a few, who don't seem like they're going to vote for him. You have to ask them. I'm not going to betray anybody's position.
Will you just vote president, or will you vote someone else's name?
I'll vote for somebody else.
Now, Johnson can only lose one vote and still win the Speaker's race on January 3rd. Some Republicans ask how things are different with a spending bill like this under Johnson than former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The funding deadline is Friday night. Neil?
House Financial Services Committee, Byron Donalds. Congressman, this bill will fund much of what Doge is looking to cut. What's going on?
Unfortunately, this is what happens in the lame duck here on Capitol Hill. Listen, there was a historic election, a mandate given to President Trump. People want government efficiencies. They want lower spending. But the swamp and, frankly, congressional Democrats want what they want, and it was that or farmers suffer. And it's a very unfortunate bill. Listen, what we have here is a bill that puts disaster recovery for a state like mine of Florida and many other states, and that was held hostage to get EV mandates and all this other stuff through this package. Personally, as a member, I have to vote no because I'm not voting for this kind of garbage. This is a bad bill. It should not pass. Elon Musk is correct. A lot of my colleagues are correct. In my view, we should go back to the drawing board immediately. Disaster recovery should move on its own. And when it comes to the other functions of government, it should be a slim deal until Donald Trump comes back.
Yeah, so it's not looking too great for Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is seemingly to want to really hamstring everything, and his days are numbered. If he passes this bill, he will be primaried. He probably won't even get the actual vote here, right? So he better be very careful on what things he does, because he's losing his job if he signs this, and I can't wait for it. We're all being shown on how corrupt the Rhino Republicans are, how the establishment plays its game, and how Mike Johnson is no better than the Rhino Republicans. He's trying to show, oh, I'm better than all of you, but you're not. You're a Rhino Republican. You're just like the rest. So move over, get removed, and maybe put Matt Gaetz as Speaker, and perhaps we might actually have a good chance of changing this country around, because obviously the Rhino Republicans and the establishment are not doing so. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, because it's algorithmic disease, the social media.